أهلا وسهلا بكم في حلقة نقاش اليوم.
Welcome everyone to this webinar related to the reform in Lebanon, solid waste sector reform in Lebanon, what tools of advocacy in the civil society, Arab Reform Initiative and Heinrich Böll Stiftung are organizing this webinar. I'm Sarin Kajajan and I'm the project officer at ARI. We are working on developing a network of practitioners, mainly those who work in this field and knowledge producers. The aim is to develop a new vision, a new understanding of the environmental problem. The waste problem is not new in Lebanon. However, this is a problem that is always renewed and it is always among the headlines. And it is one of the most prominent problems in the country. And since no rational and no root solutions are found to tackle the root causes of this problem, we'll still see this problem being perpetuated. Unfortunately, many temporary solutions have been found, but no drastic, no sustainable solution was found for the management of this sector. We need long-term planning, and because of this temporary emergency measures have led to very high costs, mainly paid by citizens. This has generated negative impact on the environment, on health, on safety. The solid waste sector has reflected the problems at the level of governance in Lebanon, mainly after 2015. And in 2015, after the Name landfill was closed and after the garbage filled the street, the Youth Think movement was created by the civil society, and many other civil society organizations started asking for sustainable solutions. This webinar will be talking about the role of different civil society actors, their role in managing the solid waste sector. What about the local and the national approaches? What about the different visions, strategies that have been developed ever since 2015? We will have different speakers for this webinar, and they will be talking about the lessons to be learned. So, what are the lessons that can be learned from the different advocacy campaigns organized in Lebanon? What are the coalitions that have been formed, and what happened to these coalitions? In addition to the difficulties, what are the difficulties and the obstacles encountered by activists while working with local community members and with different officials? We will have today with us our first speaker, Mrs. Samar Khalil from Environmental Management, who is an environmental management specialist. She worked with the Arab Reform Initiative and with Heinrich Böll on developing her paper. She will be talking about the different coalitions, advocacy, mainly in terms of managing solid waste in Lebanon. We'll give the floor first to Samar Khalil. She is a specialist in environmental management. She has more than 19 years of experience in the management of this sector. She has worked in the on the academic level. She has been as well a consultant for and an expert with different international organizations. We will give the floor after that to Khuder Aid. He has worked on developing a sustainable plan for managing waste from the source. He has worked mainly in Tripoli in Lebanon. The third speaker will be Samer Al-Khouri. Samer is an activist, an environmental activist who has participated in many environmental campaigns, such as the Wadi Bisri, the Bisri Valley campaign. He has worked as well on many sustainable projects and the reforestation projects all across Lebanon. Thank you for our speakers. We will give the floor first to Samar Khalil. Samar, the floor is yours. Thank you, Sarine, for this introduction. I will be talking today about the paper that we have prepared. I will start by sharing my screen. Uh, my paper is about impacting policies, waste management, and advocacy in Lebanon. Let me start with a historical background. Since 1997, Lebanon has implemented emergency plans, which have been very costly. We are paying high costs, financial, economic, environmental, and health costs. However, we have poor long-term planning in this sector. In addition, policy making in Lebanon is affected by clientelism, by nepotism, by different religious polarization, confessional polarization, and this has been hindering the work in this sector. After the war, we have been resorting to different politics and policies of exclusion with impunity. We have landfills against all laws and legislations. We have as well the formality of informality, which means that decisions are made outside the government, the Council of Ministers, and the relevant authorities. Parties, political parties are the ones that design the landfills or that decide that this is going to be a landfill away from any scientific research. In addition to that, we've been suffering from widespread corruption, and even those who manage the daily affairs of the state acknowledge that it is okay for them as partisans and as persons belonging to political parties to take advantage of the state. Regarding waste management in Lebanon, around 20% of recycling and composting, 44% open dumping, 36% sanitary landfilling. The cost of environmental degradation from solid waste was estimated at $200 million per year, so around 0.4% of Lebanon's GDP. We have 940 open dumps. The cost of the rehabilitation is around $60 million. So this is our waste management hierarchy. We have things, our pyramid is upside down. Instead of working on recycling and composting, we're resorting to other measures. Between 1998 and 2008, $647,000 million have been spent on this sector. A large part of the independent municipal fund was used to finance solid waste management. We pay very high costs for waste management, and at the end of the day, we go and throw all our garbage, our waste in open dumps. Based on that, we had the Name landfill that was created in 1997. It was supposed to last for a few months, for a few years, but it lasted up until 2015. In 2015, people around the Name landfill started raising their voice with the end of the Suklin contract that has been renewed more than once. So people next to the Name landfill closed the landfill. Suklin couldn't, of course, put all the waste in their company. Beirut and Mount Lebanon witnessed this valley of garbage, and we all remember how things went back then. Piles of garbage stocked in the streets. After that, the Youth Think movement was created. A hashtag was launched on social media, and after that, the Youth Think movement started organizing different protests and movements on the ground. We have many organizations. Youth Think organization. We want accountability or Badlan Hasib started participating in this movement. Many other Harak groups participated as well in this protest, in addition to the legal agenda of Khujwa. All these participated in the protests that were organized. There was a coordination committee that was created, but this all these movements did not succeed in unifying their movement, and we started seeing some dichotomies. The Harak wanted an environmental solution for waste management. They wanted the Minister of Environment to resign. They wanted to make everyone responsible for what happened to the protesters accountable. They wanted to cancel as well the decision according to which Lebanon was divided into different sectors. They wanted accountability against all those who are responsible and to organize elections. Many protests were organized in different regions, and these organizations, these movements used to reject any solution presented by the state, such as, for example, sending the garbage from Lebanon to Akkar or to other regions. And we can see this headline against the incinerators. We started hearing about incinerators in Jdeida, in Beirut. We know about what happened with the smell in Costa Brava, the problems as well, since the Costa Brava is next to the airport. There was a mountain of garbage in Bush Hamoud, and the Harak, or after the end of the protest movements or the Harak in the street, a group, Beirut Madinati, which emanated from these protests, ran for the municipal elections in Beirut. Beirut Madinati presented a comprehensive plan related to Beirut region and namely to waste management. When Beirut Madinati lost the elections, it asked the head of the municipal council or it was willing to cooperate with the head of the municipal council in order to manage the waste, but of course the municipality refused because they wanted to have an incinerator there. After that, there was a coalition for the management of waste that was created. The Waste Management Coalition was created in 2017. We worked with the Harak and with the coalition. The Harak is probably the most prominent mass mobilization after the Civil War, and the coalition is somehow a complementary activity to the Harak's work. The coalition, in fact, tried to build on the Harak movement, and they started talking about waste management. We moved from protests and mobilization to other forms of advocacy. The Harak was a spontaneous organizational movement outside traditional political organizations. The Harak had a flexible structure and emotional discourse. The demands were extremely large, so related to waste, but to livelihoods and to many other aspects of the life. And there was no leadership. There was, of course, a coordination committee and a volunteer committee. In the coordination committee, there were no clear guidelines for choosing the members. There were committees for politics, fundraising, etc. Consensual approach was adopted. Sometimes their meetings used to run for quite some time, because members of the committees couldn't reach an agreement on different topics. There was a volunteering committee as well that presented the logistical support, and volunteers felt that they did not know everything about what was happening. They felt that they were kept away from decision making. Initiatives to develop the coordination committees, organization structure, the bylaws, the decision making mechanisms have failed because some groups, such as Youth Think and Badman Hasib, we want accountability, who wanted a more flexible structure. They did not want a traditional structure similar to political party structures that the country has been witnessing for the past years. The Harak raised funds through crowdfunding and through individual donations, of course. The Harak had the ability to mobilize the street in unexpected ways. The Harak was able to attract the media and to mobilize and recruit new participants. However, it was incapable of transforming the protesters' demands into a unified political program, and it failed to develop a long-term strategic vision. The Waste Management Coalition is a group of civil society organizations, independent experts and environmental activists. Their vision is to safeguard this sector and to develop a long-term strategy. This is the structure of the coalition. There is a steering committee with a legal team, a fundraising team, a technical team, a communication team, a mobilization team, community mobilization team, and policy influencing team. And there was the board that used to meet as well. We have a horizontal structure. All decisions are taken in agreement using a participatory approach. Consensual approaches were adopted, of course. We used to resort to crowdfunding mainly, or to different activities. We do not accept funds from political parties. As for the advocacy strategies and tactics that have been used by the coalition, so between the Harak mainly and the coalition, both worked on mobilizing feelings of anger among people. They used different methods and tactics, mainly related to non-violent direct actions. The coalition stressed on legal, political, technical, grassroots, and oversight levels. The coalition tried to move from just objecting to what was happening to demanding the state to elaborate new strategies and laws. The coalition tried to develop strategies, but it failed to do that all the time because this depended, of course, on the developments that used to happen. The Harak worked as well on shaming the government's acts and mismanagement through videos, through evidence that used to be published on social media. They developed slogans, cartoons, banners, posters, and flyers to communicate with the public. Many TV interviews, talk shows, press conferences, the public debates, regional meetings, in addition to communication and coordination, meetings with experts and with expats were held. The coalition organized workshops for journalists, for municipalities, and many political and policy papers were published. Regarding communication and mobilization, the coalition participated in many festivals. They have prepared documentary films, visited schools, universities, worked in different neighborhoods. They have showcased best practices to municipalities, NGOs, and private sector. They signed petitions. They have organized many public talks, art exhibitions, film and competitions. The coalition organized many campaigns, mainly during the elections. There was a media campaign about the Beirut incinerator, a toxic flag as well. They tried to show the invisible polluants or polluting factors. So this is the black flag that was raised in Karantina. The Harak resorted to symbolic actions, theater. They had organized stunts such as throwing trash on the Grand Serai and on the houses of many officials. They have worked on arts and graffitis. They have as well organized many campaigns in order to collect garbage and waste. They have organized demonstrations, protests, marches, press conferences. The Harat worked as well on psychosocial or psychological interventions. There was a hunger strike in order to demand for the resignation of the Minister of the Environment. Two activists attempted to burn themselves in front of the military court in protest against the detention of many of their colleagues by the police during the protests. Regarding the litigation and the cases that were filed, the coalition worked on presenting many appeals related to the Costa Brava, to incinerators, and in addition to that, many letters were submitted to the municipal council in Beirut. They have assisted groups in Tripoli in submitting an appeal concerning the mismanagement of the Tripoli waste, and they have resorted to reviewing and commenting the draft law related to solid waste management. Regarding oversight, the coalition communicated with the Ministry of Environment and with the Council of Reconstruction, the CDR, to request a long-term solution. They raised their voice as well against the incinerators. They had asked for information from different public and private sector departments, and they had raised their voice in order to ask about what happened after the Beirut port explosion. They wanted a clear roadmap and an environmental assessment plan for the sector. Regarding evidence-based advocacy, the coalition reviewed the technical documents, proposed technologies, and suggested a roadmap for the future. Many papers have been published by the coalition on social media, mainly regarding different topics related to waste. They have developed information and informative materials. They have used documentaries, submitted as well reports to the special United Nations rapporteur. The coalition has started implementing the model solutions. For example, the sorting at the source started with Madinat Tafros and Batrakiye. There was as well a guide for sorting at source that was developed. Composting was implemented in many regions. They organized workshops on solid waste management. In addition, the coalition tried to present alternative solutions such as the priorities of work in the sector. Regarding decision makers, the coalition met with many experts, stakeholders, with many MPs, ministers. There were many debates, technical and political debates that were held about the landfills, about the Beirut incinerator. Many workshops were held as well in cooperation with the municipality about the incinerator. Meetings were held with the UNDP, with the European Union, mainly regarding the waste management plan, and all these were published on social media. Regarding partnerships, partnerships were built with international organizations, municipalities, with members of the parliament, syndicates, private sector, NGOs, ministries, influencers, with the media and the marketing companies. Many challenges were faced, mainly related to policy-making context. As we said, corruption was prevailing in addition to the lack of accountability, absence of government officials. There was a challenge related to the access to information, to funding, to mobilizing and retaining volunteers, because we know that the change takes a lot of time. In addition to that, many Harak members witnessed violence, or were victims of violence, of character assassination. This happened with the Youth Think campaign and with the Youth Think movement. They accused them of being dash-like, and there was the death of expertise. So we've seen hundreds of of people pretending to be experts in the field while they weren't presenting any plausible and logical solutions. Regarding the lessons learned, the organization and development of common goal and strategies is extremely important. Evidence-based advocacy as well is important. We need to work with all relevant stakeholders and decision makers. It is very important to have a multidisciplinary group having different capacities, skills, and knowledge. It is important as well to get information on time. Timely information is key. Sometimes people used to give up the information that weren't allowed to receive, or even before they were officially published. And this helped us move on time. It is very important as well to adopt participatory approaches, transparent approaches, and to resort to democracy. This is very important in order to unify different groups. It is very important to carefully choose and select the funding sources to preserve transparency, margin of maneuver, and so that no one can affect the group's decisions. Trust and credibility can be promoted by showcasing how practically solutions can be applied. You should know as well that the change takes time and needs patience. Sometimes the results of advocacy campaigns are not directly seen. For example, with the Beirut incinerator, we haven't seen directly the result of what happened because we had worked on a prevention mode, on a prevention approach. Another thing, building partnerships and networks in addition to promoting partnerships with all people working on the ground is key, is important, and it avoids duplication of work. It is very important to shift from being in the opposition to building and developing alternative solutions. It is very important to simplify complex issues so that everyone and all the people get to understand what you're talking about. It's very important to involve decision makers to define the potential allies we can work with, and to find the windows of opportunities, work on time, choose the right time, be timely, and it is very important to know what is the best political moment to be seized in order to promote the success of our initiatives. Thank you. Thank you, Samar, for this paper. Thank you for your intervention, valuable intervention. We will give the floor now to Khodr. Khodr, the floor is yours. We will have a Q&A session after that, and we would like to encourage the participants and the attendees to ask their questions in the chat box. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your invitation. Allow me first to start with a brief video so that you get to know more about Green Track before commenting on the video.
تنساعد بحل مشكلة النفايات بلبنان لازم نبلش من بيوتنا، يعني نفرز من المصدر، وقدرنا نوعي الناس على أهمية الفرز من المصدر. بطرابلس بلشنا ب2 كلابس خلقناهم بباب التزام وجبل محسن، مع نسوان صاروا يمرقوا على البيوت ليعلموا ستات البيوت والأهالي كيف بيفرزوا، وهلأ عم نبلش بمنطقة الدم والفرز. لوين بدنا نوصل؟ بدنا نكبر مهمتنا بكل الشمال. هلأ نحن جاهزين لنطلق 5 كلابس ب5 مناطق جديدة: بترون، كورة، صغرتا، شري، مني ودنية، وناويين نكثر على كل المناطق بالشمال. كل كلاب بيخلق مسؤولة عنه، بيكون مع فالنتير ليساعدوها. الكلاب بياخد برسنتج من بيع المواد المفروزة وبيتقسم هذا الربح على كل كلاب. صرنا بارمين على 23,000 بيت بالشمال وعلمناهم على الفرز. من خلال تبرعك لجرين تراك رح بتكون عم بتساهم بخلق كلابز أكثر وتوعية لبيوت أكثر. بتكون عم بتساعدهم يجهزوا الأدوات المناسبة لحملة التوعية من مستوعبات، كيس وفلايرز.
مثل ما شفتوا بالفيديو.
As you have seen in this video, Green Track is social organization for the sustainable management of waste. Our vision is for every household in Lebanon to start sorting at the source. In order to implement this vision, we have created clubs and we are creating clubs in order to assist with that mission. We work through three stages. First, we work on sensitizing the public on sorting at the source. After that, we collect the products that can be recycled. And after that, three, we work on sorting these before giving them to the companies that work on recycling. Green Track was created in 2016. It was a response to the waste crisis witnessed in Beirut, in Tripoli as well. Uh, Many problems related to waste and waste management were starting to appear. In fact, there was a landfill on the coast in Tripoli. This landfill should have been only around 12 meters. However, in 2012, it became around 32 meters high, and a new landfill started being built. We started with ourselves. So we started from home. The first woman who worked with us was our mom. We used to go door to door, distribute pamphlets to people. We used to visit houses and teach them how to sort at the source. Many young men and women from Tripoli used to go collect every one day and Thursday and collect the garbage bags from houses in order to take them to the places where this waste was recycled. We started with the small and medium projects. We have implemented last year 4 strategies for sorting at the source. We had the Institut Français that had funded our first project. Our strategy was based on door to door collection, and there was a WhatsApp group that was created between Jabal Mahsan and Bab al which are two regions in Tripoli. And in this women from different households are included in that group. We communicate with them and let them know when we'll be collecting the waste. The second strategy was related to distributing canisters in order, red canisters, in order to encourage sorting at the source. We used to put these canisters for entire buildings, and we used to work with buildings guards in order to encourage on sorting this waste. Our third division and project was the partnership with Live Love Recycle, which is a social enterprise working in Beirut, and we download the application, and this application helps collect all the recycled material. Our fourth strategy aims at training new team leaders, young women from regions that are close to Tripoli. The aim is to implement initiatives of sorting at the source in Zghalta, Minya, Duniya, Kura, and Bsharri. We will be covering 3 more regions this year, and we will be initiating a new project to target businesses, not only households. This is in brief our work in Green Track. GIZ and the EU funded the 5 clubs project of last year. Thank you. Thank you, Khuder. We will talk about the challenges that you have faced practically on the ground, mainly with the local community members. We will be collecting the questions later on, but we'll give the floor first to Samer. Hello, thank you. I will be speaking in English if you don't mind.
to share, but I live in a mountain area and the connection is not stable. I will go through it, and if anyone is interested to have it on a later stage, I can send it by email. First of all, thank you for having me on this webinar. Thank you, Samar, for your good presentation, Khadr. So I'm Samar Al-Khouri, and I'm the co-founder of Greenmount Recycling, material recovery facility. Greenmount Recycling, or GMR, is a grassroots turned company that is now based in Ras Al Matin, Mount Lebanon. Our work is focused on alternative waste management strategies that deal with recyclables in the area that we operate. We currently partner with various public and private bodies where GMR provides a sorting from the source service. It's a bit similar to what Khadr is doing, because we believe that this is the main and probably the solution for reducing waste. So GMR provides the sorting from the source service, and it aims into introducing a more sustainable culture and lifestyle. In that sense, the work being done in the recycling plant has an effect of like a catalyzer in the realm of Lebanese culture and society, because we are in need of more concrete and management strategies. So oh, this question is not for me, I'm sorry. So we are now functional for almost a year and a half, located in 13 different areas. Everyone knows about the condition that the country is witnessing currently, and the absence of a solid decentralized and national plan, especially for waste management. So this is the purpose of GMR, that is grounded into introducing a new cultural shift, which on the long run would like instill a more sustainable future inside households. After facing a trash crisis or like a waste problem for more than 10 years, we decided to start under a 3Ps partnership. I will explain this furthermore. But this type of work like require crucial ecological strategies aimed to reduce the catastrophic consequences on the climate and human life. So to go back to the partnership model, we believe that the only viable alternative to solve this waste crisis, which is actually on its peak and maybe more than that, is embedded in sharing efforts to gradually implement ecological strategies on municipal level. So we work in a triangular shape. If the 3Ps partnership are private, public, and people. Of course, the private is us as a company, GMR, the public is municipalities, and the people are the inhabitants of the areas where we operate. The responsibility here is to induct on a primary level a green education, and through campaigns actually, and this way we are creating a decentralized operation, if you want, and also giving ownership to households on such projects. So after working in such strategy, we found out that this is probably the best way to implement these strategies. And through municipalities, if you want, we take the legalities of the project with households and the people, of course. We build this culture of recycling and help and like push people more to live in a more sustainable way. So the operation goes as following. Sorry. First of all, we map out municipalities in the region and then sign MOUs. After that, we conduct a door-to-door and virtual media campaign to raise awareness with the local community. This part is very crucial and takes a lot of time because we started in an area that has almost 1,100 households. So imagine we need to go to every house and explain this project, especially that we work in mountain areas where Recycling strategies were implemented a couple of years ago through municipalities, but then there was no continuity for the projects, and people lost trust. So whenever we go now into houses, we also face this lack of trust and lack of commitment, and it actually takes us more effort to recreate and rebuild this trust. We also map out efficient routes for pickup schedules because we do pickup from households and commercial stores. And of course, the waste sorting and treatment that happens in our plant. So basically, through this partnership, we are dividing the value chain into three categories of equal importance, of course, that are social, logistics, and industrial. So as I said, the project started in Ras Al Matin, and GMR gained traction, and it was ready to operate. We sometimes face problems, especially that we are in mountainside. Like recently, we had to stop working for 3 weeks because of heavy weathers and snowy conditions. So this is us in brief. A big part, actually, a part of our work is not only focused on the industry and business. We also have a CSR projects such as raising awareness in schools and universities. We go and give like seminars or workshops for students to know more about their waste, the environment, and this whole realm. I think I'm done for now. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Samer, as well, for also sharing your experience on the ground. رح ناخد أسئلة. اوكي فنسأل وانا كمان سألت قبل شوي السؤال what were the main challenges you faced with local communities in your respective regions راس المتن طرابلس وكمان سمر in your own work and how did you overcome them knowing that there is a lot of resistance when it comes to waste related issues especially with authorities and we've seen this with the municipalities and and other local actors. خضر would you إذا بتحب فينا نبلش معك خضر نرجع بعدين لسامر وسمر أكيد تفضل خضر.
خضر سامر then Samar. There are a lot of challenges that we have faced. But the most important challenge is related to the awareness raising campaigns that we organize, mainly in terms of sorting from the source. So we need more than one awareness campaign. The local community members or community members in general need more than one awareness campaign to be convinced by what we are saying. So we need sustainable awareness campaigns. Of course, when we start working, we know that we have 50 to 60% of households that we visit the first time that would start sorting directly after our visit, and after that we work on the other 40%. But when we stop the awareness raising campaigns, when we stop visiting them for quite some time directly, this number drops. So we need the continuous communication with these households in order to be able to retain the people that are working with us on sorting. And as Samar just said, it takes a lot of time and energy. In addition to that, and in the same realm regarding the authorities, we notice that international NGOs or initiatives are great. They are implemented for a small period of time during the funding time of the project for 6 months, 8 months, a year. After implementing the best of campaigns in the absence of collection of waste, and the absence of any follow-up in the second and the third phase, and the absence of a center to be able to collect all this waste and put this waste in that place, our efforts will be lost, and we might have the best recycling plant, and if we don't have a good sensitization, a good collection, we lose trust. So we need to work on all these stages: awareness raising campaigns, collection, and sorting a place to stock this waste, to sort it, and to work on it. So on the plants in general. And we cannot stop. We need to work on this entire value chain all the time in a sustainable manner. Another thing, we need to know how to develop our work. Fine, we were able to succeed in one region. How can we move to another region? How can we convince other regions to do the same, to follow suit? Regarding the authorities, I haven't faced any obstacles or challenges with the authorities. However, I did not receive any assistance or any support from the authorities. Allow me here to talk about my experience. I was a United Nations volunteer last year, and I've worked with UNDP on a project. Al-Fayha is sorting to, Al-Fayha Tafruz to, also 5 municipalities in Tripoli, in Al-Fayha region in Tripoli, worked on that project. For 8 months, we were able to work on that project, but since the sorting plant that was next to the landfill was closed, and when we had the plan finalized, and when we wanted to start with phase 2 of this project, the plant was closed, and the Federation of Municipalities was unable to send the waste to this plant. And this is how we started facing obstacles. This is why I was saying that we cannot stop. So we need to overcome all obstacles and to continue working on all phases of the project. We had to stop our work for 8 months because the sorting plant was closed. And this is something I've witnessed with my own eyes and with my own experience. In addition, of course, to the problems faced by municipalities, since they cannot afford sometimes to pay for these services because of the currency devaluation, because of companies that have monopoly over collecting waste, but they do not have any plan to sort the waste or to recycle the waste. So we're not their competitors. We're not competitors of these waste collection companies, because they only work on collecting waste, and they collect waste that is not sorted. So we need to work together. These are some of the challenges that I have faced on a personal level. I hope that I have answered your question, Sari. Yes, I will collect 2 questions before giving the floor to Samer.
What material Green Track collects? Is there any household waste that is not collected by the Green Track at this stage? وسؤال تاني لخضر ولسامر بتوجه لكم. Did you face any powerful stakeholder or stakeholders, we should say, who did not want to operate or cooperate with you? تفضل سامر.
شكرا. هلا كرمال المشاكل اللي بنواجهها.
Regarding the problems and the obstacles encountered, we basically encounter financial problems. We all know the dire conditions we're in, and
to operate and go collect the trash. So at some point we faced a fuel crisis. يعني مشاكل لبنان الكبيرة. But in the sense of awareness واللي كان عم بيحكي عنه خضر هو basically this is the most important part of our job because in Lebanon we don't have a culture that's based on recycling or waste. Usually people throw away their things without even considering where they're going or what's going to happen with that waste. And especially in mountain areas, you have a lot of people that resist the change and they are facing a lot of personal problems whenever you come and you want to discuss ecological problems or even this waste crisis. Some answers come like, we don't have the time for you or we don't really care right now. And this is very understandable. So through our CSR projects that are based on educating the youth and probably kids and which will basically go back home to their houses and implement this change. In a sort, the older generation will learn from the new, and this has been a success so far. Other than that, we have also problems of like consistency from municipalities because what we offer them is an ideal model for them. First of all بيكون عم نخفض من التكاليف على البلديات لأنه كلنا بنعرف البلديات حاليا تدفع.
Because we all know that municipalities now pay per week per ton for the companies. When we start working with them, we decrease or lower the volume of this waste, and hence less money to be paid.
بس هيك بنحس إنه ايام البلديات بيكونوا مشجعين بالاول.
But we feel that in the first place municipalities are eager to work with us, and after that they throw everything on us.
But other than the like fuel issues and finances, we have weather conditions لانه نحن بنعيش بمناخ عالي. فهول هن يعني هول هن. بس كنت عم شوف في سؤال موجه عن are you implementing any educational interventions related to ecological awareness? Yes, we are through our corporate social responsibilities. And as I mentioned earlier, we kicked off a series of seminars in schools. And in these seminars, most of our talks and topic is waste management, but we also include topics about the environment in general, climate change, animals, and the wildlife, if you want, because it's all correlated. And we all know like a bad waste management will create an influx in landfills, which will create bad gases, and the whole cycle will be damaged. Thank you.
Okay, شكرا سامر. في سؤال كمان.
Thank you, Samer. There is another question.
Projects failed in your opinion. وأنا هون كمان بدي زيد شغلة إنه التجربة اللي أنتم عملتوها وعم تعيشوها.
Your experience and your daily work in Ras Al Matan, Samer, or even in Tripoli, Khader, or even Samar was working practically on the ground. Can we copy this experience and paste it to other regions? And if yes, what was the opinion of the local communities there, and especially municipalities and Federation of Municipalities? Samar, if you have anything else to add before giving the floor back to Samer. Regarding the challenges, the first question that you have asked, Sareen, in my work, not only in the coalition, I have participated in many other groups, and I've noticed an obstacle related to the political leaders. I used to work with municipalities, for example, who used to work on a certain project in order to get the funding from the EU to find a sustainable solution for the region. Many municipalities were extremely encouraged to work with us, but before signing the project and the MOU with them, and because their political leadership told them to, they withdrew from the agreement. So there are obstacles related to mayors, head of municipalities, for example, who are convinced that what you are doing, or but by what we are doing, or by fighting certain projects such as incinerators, but they do not dare to stand in the face and face the political leader that is in control of the region, the municipality. So there is this fear of political leaderships in different regions. Another thing, with some heads of municipalities, we've noticed some reluctance to change. You know that we've been witnessing ongoing problems. So there are some municipalities sometimes that start finding solutions, for example, decentralized solutions, whenever the companies, collection companies, stop collecting the waste. But when these companies on the central level start collecting the waste again, the municipalities stop doing their job, as if this is a burden that they can take off their shoulders now. It is easier for them not to change. It is easier for them to go on and still implement the central contract they have with the collection waste collection company. And this is something important that we need to work on for the future. I don't know if I forgot anything. No, thank you, Samar. I'll give the floor to Samar now, and then Khudur. And there are as well two questions in the chat. Samar,
يلي إذا هيدا الموديل بيقدر
regarding if this model can be copied and pasted to other regions. A year and a half ago, we started in Ras Al Matan. When we covered the 70% of the households who started sorting, we copied our model to other 13 regions. When we start with the awareness raising campaign, we come back after 2-3 months of operations and ask households about their experience, their feedback. And we noticed that people work with us.
7 hours يعني تبع الويست. فالناس لاحظت على حالها انه صارت واعيه اكثر على شو عم بيصرفوا قديش عم بيصرفوا.
People are now more aware of what they're sorting, recycling, using, reusing. Many people, many members of the households told us that they feel well with this new arrangement.
To create this culture بهدول البيوت, and through that I think we can replicate this model all around the country. هلا نحن حاليا موجودين هون لانه المعمل تبعنا هون، الكاميونات هون، بس اكيد مع الوقت
our work is here, our trucks are here, but with time we will be glad to implement our project in other regions and work with people from different fields. I don't think that there should be competition in this field, but rather complementarity, unity, people working together in order to serve this common objective. Waste is everywhere, and this is leading to diseases. We are seeing how coastal cities are polluted.
So yes, I believe this model could be replicated in other areas. And again, this partnership of people, private and public, has created this smooth ride, if you want. لأنه اليوم البلديات إذا فاتوا معنا بالمشروع وما في حدا
when municipalities or if municipalities work with us in the project and the absence of any oversight and in the absence of consistency from our side, the project will fail. This is why when we started engaging people or mobilizing people, now we have oversight, consistency, and the feedback from people. We work in complementarity, and this is somehow a sort of a triangle that is helping us move forward.
اوكي شكرا سامر. هلا
Thank you, Samar.
خضر اذا بدك تفضل.
خضر.
في كمان سؤال متجه يعني على السستينابيلتي، يعني كيف الاستمراريه
There's a
تكون
question about sustainability and about how you can ensure sustainability of your project and the challenges. there is a question related to the material and what's the material that we collect, and another question related to challenges. As Green Track, we work on the red, green, gray colors. So all these are associated with material. Red, everything recyclable, cardboard, paper, glass, metal, plastic, nylon, textile, electronics. So these are recyclables, dry material, and there is no leakage, if you could say so. We have organic waste, green, pure organic waste, leftovers, everything including carbon, organic elements, green, and we have the gray color associated with refused waste. So
فاذا نحن بهيدا الموضوع نحن ما عندنا حل سحري يعني نحن
we do not have a magical wand. We're working on a major challenge now because we're collecting mainly the recyclables. When we go and recollect waste, we collect the recyclables because we cannot collect the green, the organic waste. Why? Because we need big investments for that. So we only collect the red. We have received a major foundation in order to buy the pickup and everything we need. This was an initial investment to be able to start our project. However, when households work on sorting, when we have organic waste, and if we have investments, if we succeed in cooperating and coordinating with municipalities, if we succeed in working on composting, we will start doing that. But this is an entire other challenge. We need to invest more in that, and you don't have enough investments now.
اوكي شكرا خضر. في سؤال
Thank you, خضر.
اكيد رح نرجع لك اكيد سامر، بس لناخذ السؤال من المشاركين. في سؤال
A question
قريبين على الانتخابات النيابيه.
now with the approach of the parliamentary elections.
Is the issue of waste management on the agenda of any of the political parties running for elections today? What is the position of many of the opposition political parties? Samer, تفضل.
Yes, but just to go back لقبل نحن ب GMR we take almost 25 types of material. حتى recently we started taking used cooking oil and used car oil وبيتعالج. بموضوع هذا السؤال يعني هلا حكيناه. نحن منه it's personally funded. Our company is personally funded.
Our
مش إنه
company is personally funded. We don't deal with any political bodies.
بس بليز فيك ترجع تعيد السؤال إذا حدا خص.
Can you please repeat the question? So regarding the parliamentary elections, there are many candidates now. There are lists for loyalists and from the opposition. Are there any persons, any candidates running for the elections that have waste management at the top of their agenda of their program?
بالمعارضة الموجودة.
نعم ونعم في لحديد هلا
Yes.
في ثلاثة.
Up until now, there are 3 environmentalists running for the elections, and they are part of the opposition, and they work on waste management in particular, which is something really good. I don't think that in in the history of Lebanon, we've seen candidates with a program related to waste management.
سمر كمان إذا فيني أزيد من عندي
سمر.
سؤال يعني في استراتيجية وطنية اللي هلا
There is a national strategy now being developed by the Ministry of Environment.
شو موقف إذا بدنا نقول يعني هل فينا نوصل على حلول أو رح نضلنا كل
Can we reach solutions, or will we have to talk about the same issue every 2, 3, 5 years, talking again about the landfills, about the dumps? As an expert in this field, do you think that the strategy being developed now is good? There is a law from 2018 that gave the Ministry of Environment 6 months to present the strategy, and an environmental assessment was supposed to be conducted. There is now a draft strategy that has been published in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. This draft strategy hasn't been adopted because no environmental assessment was conducted. We had many comments that we had presented in writing about that strategy, and we don't see this as a strategy. It's rather like a shopping list. It doesn't include a clear orientation. Now, the current minister is working on amending that strategy, but at the same time, the World Bank is working on a strategic environmental assessment of the former strategy. So there is a kind of conflict in that, if you could say so. The current strategy being amended now includes many of the ideas we've been talking about, but it lacks a clear orientation. It is a shopping list. It includes everything, but it needs to be more detailed with clear targets and objectives. But up until now, this hasn't happened. I don't know if it will be developed with time, but now it's more like a shopping list. Regarding electoral programs, I don't think that the traditional electoral lists have had any program related to the environment, but in the opposition list, Beirut Madinati, for example, talked about waste management, وطني, تحالف وطني, تقدم as well. All these opposition groups have talked about the importance of waste management in their electoral program. Beirut Madinati was even preparing for the municipal elections, and they asked us as a coalition to design ideas or to present ideas that can be applied to the Beirut municipality. I think that yes, there are some parties working on that. Claude just asked the question in the chat box about the real challenge that we are facing. I would like to tell Claude that there are now many business models relying on income or revenue generation without having too much waste. So now I can, instead of buying, for example, a washing machine, I can rent the washing machine and pay for every washing cycle, and the company will take care of repairing the machine. The company would take my old washing machine and use the different equipment, if I could say so, or spare parts to repair other machines. So we're talking about designing out waste. We have many business models now that are being generated and that don't lead to more waste generation. I don't know if Khader or Samer have anything to add before collecting some of the questions as well. There is a question for Samer and Khader.
وفي سؤال كمان انه there are a lot of competitions between the municipalities, the workers, the subcontractors متعهدين خاصة من قبل البلديات. So can you say more about this? And this is a question. هذا السؤال جاي من زميلنا بتونس لأنه كمان عم بيعينوا
This is a question from our colleague in Tunisia since they're facing the same challenges. Samer, yes, we are meeting people who are working with us on this project. For example, now I got to know more about Khudr. Khudr is working in the North region. We are here. We can start working together and share our ways of working to see how to best implement our plans. Regarding the question, yes, we're living specifically municipalities in rural regions that are more attached to their traditions would rather allow, for example, people they know, people who give them money, people who are related to them to open a factory here or a factory there. Ambitious, if you could say so. But now it's not that easy anymore to open similar plants.
Raising or building a culture that is based on recycling and waste management and reduction of waste. ف منه يعني ما بعرف اذا هيدا تشالنج هو اكثر انه ايه معقوله تصير بس
yes this might be a challenge but here's the importance of our consistency, the importance of the trust that we are developing with the local community members. Thank you, Samer. Khudr. What was the question addressed to me in particular, Sarin? About cooperation between municipalities, and since we're talking about transparency as well, do you publish your financial reports on your website? So do you share this information, these reports? Khudr, Samar, and Samar. Regarding cooperation, we cooperate with local NGOs first that work in the regions where we're implementing our projects, and with many other stakeholders, not only local NGOs. We work with schools, with the scouts, with many young men and women through the activities conducted in their regions. So this is regarding communication with Live, Love, Recycle. Well, with Compost Baladi. When Live, Love, Recycle and Green Track work together, we're both working in waste management. Some things that we're competitors. However, this is not true. The added value of Live, Love, Recycle is something that I don't have, and the added value that I have lacks from Live, Love, Recycle. So we work in complementarity with each other. Now with Samer and with the Samar, all those who have added value in the sector, all those who have business models that can be complementary should be able to work together. So we'll always have waste. There's a huge quantity, a huge amount of waste. We've been working for years and years, and we're still only in the north. So a huge volume of waste, and we need a lot of collaboration. We need to work with more people, with more stakeholders. We need more people to work in this field, and we are always willing to work with them. We've created, in fact, for example, team leaders in different regions, in the 5 regions, and they are the ones creating that momentum in the regions, and they are the ones working on the ground. We started now, for example, on one neighborhood in Kura. After that, the team leader of Kura will be working on many more neighborhoods. So there is no competition here, but collaboration. Regarding the second question about transparency and about publishing the report on the website and transparency with the local communities. In 2019, end of 2019, we registered Green Mount Recycling. We are a social enterprise. In Lebanon, there is no structure to register directly as a social enterprise. So we had to have a mix of an NGO and an enterprise. The NGO part takes care of the awareness, and the enterprise takes care, or the institution takes care of the collection, because we can't register a pickup on the NGO, if you know what I mean. So this is why we had this double registration, if I could say so. We started working in 2016, but we've been only registered since 2019. So we did not have financial reports to submit. After that, with time, we started developing our work, and we've learned how to build our business. I not expert in waste. I'm more into management. I don't have technical skills. This is why I've participated in many programs throughout these 4 years in order to promote my skills. I tried to collect small funds to implement small initiatives. It is an ongoing learning process. I wasn't born an expert in the field, and in 2016, when I started working, I had a very small experience, if I could say so. And this experience that I was able to develop during the past 4 years, or up until 2009, 2020, and after that, we worked on developing our skills. In 2020, we had to suspend our work because of the confinement and the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is the first year that we present our financial report officially to the state. And we've presented, of course, our tax reports, and by the end of the financial year, we will be publishing the financial reports. Although we have published the number of volunteers, the social impact we've had, the number of households that have been working with us, but this was related to the social impact. As for the financial impact, we will have to wait till the end of this year to be able to share this information with everyone, since this is the first year that we prepare our financial report. Samar and Samar,
is there a market of example for recycled plastic؟ افتكر حكيتوا عن الموضوع بس يمكن نرجع له.
نعم.
آخر سؤال, do you collaborate with informal recyclers in the area that you cover؟ سامر
ونرجع هلا نحن بموضوع الفاينانشال ستيتمنتس انه نحن مش NGO, we're a private company.
We're not an NGO, we're a private company. So if someone asks for these reports, yes, we're glad to give them these reports. Regarding the second question regarding sorted waste, I guess, we work with Lebanon Waste Management, which works here in Mount Lebanon as well. And some of the material is sold to them.
I forgot to talk about. We have an incentive program inside GMR. So we collaborated with Nadira Tech. Some of you might be familiar with it. So basically, it's like a مشروع تحفيزي يعني. We distribute barcode stickers for households, and whenever they want to give out their recyclables, they just stick this sticker or barcode on the bag. It comes to the facility. There's an inspector that inspects the bag, and with these barcodes, households will win points, and they can spend them in commercial stores. So this is something I forgot to mention earlier. It's part of our incentive program. لأنه في كتير ناس بلبنان when you say بدنا نبلش نفرز بيقولوا نحن شو رح
So there
يطلع.
are many people in Lebanon who ask us what will we gain if we start sorting. So this is what they will be gaining. More points when they put their barcodes on the bags,
عندنا بعد 9 دقائق
and
نكون هيك يمكن
this is how they can
Thank you so much.
gain from that.
لا ثانك يو لك سامر. سمر
Samar?
So أنا بالنسبة لي بعتقد السؤال هو إذا بننشر
Regarding the
نحن
question
مثلا كل شيء
about whether we publish our reports, we write and share the minutes of meetings with different stakeholders. We publish that on our platforms. We publish our papers on social media, on different media channels, on our website as well. Regarding our budget, we haven't published our budget, but it would be good to do so. But if anyone asks for the budget, we will be happy to share it. We don't have a huge budget because we mainly work with volunteers. So our budget is quite limited.
شكرا. ثانك يو سمر.
Thank you, Samar.
خضر ويمكن
خضر.
آخر سؤال من
And the last question.
اليوم is there a program laid for decreasing the consumption؟ وبعطي هلا مجال للكل يمكن في دقيقة هيك على السريع إذا as a conclusion لنختم جلسة اليوم. تفضل خضر.
So Khadr, regarding collaboration with the informal people who collect garbage. So if you mean, for example, people who go to the garbage bin and collect garbage from the canisters or the cans. So we've noticed that there are many people who started thinking that this might be a source of income to them to go and collect garbage from the canisters in the street. In Tripoli, we do not deal with these collectors, and we do not encourage buying waste from those collectors, because this way we would be encouraging people to send their kids to the garbage to collect material, and this goes against our ethics, and this goes against the culture, the social impact we're trying to create. So this is against our ethics, and we do not encourage working with these informal collectors, if you could say so. We have one source we work with in Tripoli, a formal source that collects waste from restaurants, so not from the informal structure. This is my answer to this question. Thank you, Khadr. Samer,
كمان كلمة النهائية وإذا فينا كمان
last word.
زملائنا من القاهرة
And our colleagues from Egypt, from Tunisia,
يعني المعارف
it would be good
والتجارب.
to share experiences with them.
عم شوف إنه في سؤال موجه لإلي من جانا مسعود. بس أنا ذكرت قبل إنه through our CSR projects and social responsibilities, we definitely raise awareness and importance على recycling و reducing of consumption أكيد. و through our partnership يلي بتضم هي people, أكيد في أندية أو local scouts أو local clubs بيشاركوا معنا للحملات
There
التوعية.
are scouts, movements, clubs that work with us on the door-to-door campaign. Regarding working with the informal collectors, as Khader was saying, we're seeing more and more informal collectors in Lebanon. We've noticed that many people now are selling their waste as GMR. We thought about trying to find a solution to that, how to help these informal collectors. We tried to map the regions where there are many informal collectors, and we will eventually try to employ them to become of the GMR family so that they can start working with us on our project, and they will be paid. But to buy the material from informal collectors, I don't think that this will help. If we mobilize the informal collectors and if they work with the GMR, they would be able to work with us on raising awareness and collecting the material.
Thank you for everyone, and thank you for having me again.
Again, شكرا. بدي أشكر المتحدثين اليوم.
Allow me to thank the speakers, Samar Khalil, Khader Eid, and Samer Al-Khouri. Thank you for your presence, your participation. Thank you for this interaction with the participants. I would like to thank all the attendees and all the other participants. I would like to thank the Arab Reform Initiative team, Saeed, Andrew, Majid, and Nadim Houri. I would like to thank as well Hanoch Burl, Christophe Maroon, among others. We will meet soon, and we will have the AUB researcher Cynthia Crady, who will be talking about her paper about governance and solid waste management in Lebanon on April 28th, in cooperation, of course, with the Hanoch Board at 4 p.m. Beirut time. Thank you very much.
إذا بيحبوا أي استفسار أو أي
If you have any inquiries and information, you can visit our social media account or you can send us an email. So if anyone is interested in collaborating with us or needs assistance, you can communicate with us. We have our numbers published on social media. You can communicate with us through WhatsApp, and we're willing and ready to help. Thank you, Khader. You can watch this session back on our social media channel. Thank you. See you.